Hey, Eiyo.
You are a founder of a startup in
Yep.
the AgriTech space.
Yep.
And I want to get straight into it because I'm
Cool.
sure a lot of our viewers want to hear about it as well. So, if you were to, let's say I'm an investor,
Oh my
if you were to make a minute long elevator pitch, what would you tell me?
Yeah. I like to say that rice farming is the Bitcoin of agriculture. If you do it right, you can maximize your profits. Otherwise, it could be at a loss. Unfortunately, this is the everyday of Filipino rice farmers. They lose at least 300 million because of agricultural losses that they can't detect fast enough.
Okay.
This is also a personal story to me because I have an uncle farmer who lives day by day, not knowing what to do, just basing it off of their vibes and basically on their intuition.
Okay.
So the question now becomes, what if we live in a world where no harvest is left to chance? That's why I'm introducing AgriConnect. And this is actually a startup that helps these agribusinesses manage risks using AI and smart sensors. So given this, we're able to tell you exactly what the problem is and give you insights on what to do next. So it's hopefully we have more strategy and more intentionality. So for a farmer, they become more reactive to situations. Instead, they become more proactive. So that's the future we want to uphold with AgriConnect.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that pitch.
Thank you.
I think that was a 10 out of 10.
Thank you. I try.
Pero okay, so you mentioned a lot. You mentioned a lot of these problems that hit close to home in agriculture, in the operations of farming and in terms of output, etc.
Yeah.
And maraming gut feel decisions that end up being made as a result of the lack of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So just to, I guess, hihimayin natin yung, kung hihimayin natin yung pitch mo, let's start with the pain points. So what are these specific pain points that farmers go through? What the industry goes through as well? Parang what are the things that are lacking?
Yeah. I think even before actually going deep into the nitty-gritty, I think, again, as I mentioned, I think there was a need for a mindset shift for them.
Okay.
For being more reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just like, it's the way it is mindset.
Yes.
That's kind of like 90% of where the problem is. But again, at the same time, you really can't blame them because they've been exposed to that environment to just be reactive as the problem comes. Okay. And so by acknowledging that there's a need to have that mindset shift from being reactive, that proactiveness comes in, right?
Okay.
And I guess specifically to the problem, so my uncle has had this patch of land for quite a few decades naman, 10, 20 years na. And for him, sometimes, so Ilocos, like last year, there were 3 back-to-back super typhoons that hit Ilocos. And the projected 10 sacks of rice that he wanted to produce, he only got to produce 3. And aside
normal season without the typhoon, ilan yung
the 10 sacks would be 10. His estimate is 10 sacks per season. And then because of these risks, then example like weather, 3 na lang yung produce niya. But then his operating costs remain the same. His manpower remains the same. So, ganun talaga daw. Sabi ko, so anong ginagawa mo, uncle, pag ganun? Sabi niya, wala, ganun talaga eh. Parang gamble lang yan eh. Sabi niya, parang ganun talaga. Ganun yung hirap naman ng pagpa-farm. And so like having to hear that perspective na they just give up and that's how life is. Like, I personally, my mantra in life is that I don't accept things the way it is. Okay. And so I feel like that's why I keep pursuing this, even if people have discouraged me to pursue something in AgriTech, because it's not scalable, kesyo masyadong fragmented, it's not digitized, so how can you even integrate technology? And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but I feel like my stubbornness in trying to look into these issues kind of opens up new ways to see the problem, you know. And then like the problems that they face also, like crop diseases. Parang there's this one disease called tungro virus that spreads instantly and kills.
Sorry, what's it called?
Tungro virus. And usually it's coming from, my uncle thinks it came from, it's like airborne.
Okay.
But upon research, it's actually coming from a leafhopper.
Oh my gosh.
Na parang, it's like, it acts like a vector that jumps from one crop to another. And so parang for us, it's like, first of all, like, yung assumption pa lang, mali na, di ba? Parang there needs to be like deeper education on that. But at the same time, these may be too small for them to even detect in the first place. So if you have technology that makes lives easier, that technology gets to detect these small things that create so much impact, maybe this is the value we want to bring into to these farmers. So I guess it's like bridging that knowledge gap, and also like having technology to make it easier for them to actually detect these risks. That's kind of the value we're trying to integrate into the farms.
You mentioned that a lot of people tell you like this isn't a scalable industry to
every
be in,
day. Yeah.
right? What is your, I guess, counter argument to that?
Honestly, I would tell them you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's not a scalable business, but again, I did this startup not because I wanted to profit out of it. It's a personal problem that I want a personal solution for.
Yes.
And sometimes that's kind of the hard part. When I was in Silicon Valley, where there were investors that were passing by me, they would ask me like, "Oh, which industry are you from?" AgriTech. It was just like, walk away.
Oh, really?
And they're I mean, they don't literally do it, but they're like, "Oh, not really for me."
Yeah, I see that.
When we had this, there was an AgTech showcase in one of those days, and I was shocked that there were at least 100 people in that AgTech showcase, and they're like, "We're not a lot of people, we're not a lot of people who believe in the vision of agriculture, but then we just need believers. We just need one person to believe that something good could happen in agriculture if we actually put our heads together and not look at it and just accept it as it is." So that's why I'm saying maybe my stubbornness really helps a lot in trying to actually find a way to make this easier. Because at the end of it all, especially in the Philippines, I think the most important thing we need to be solving is access.
Yes.
Diba? So if it means distribution could be a way for us to make these tech services more apparent to them, or actually having a low cost, high impact technology solution. That's going back to access. And maybe that's the start. It may not be solving all the problems in agriculture in the Philippines, but you're starting at this one point, and hopefully you start more conversations on how more people could help out. So for me, scalability as an issue, definitely I agree. But then again, sometimes being in ag tech, it's not always about actually having the most profitable business, because this industry is an industry of relationships. You develop a relationship with someone, not necessarily transactional. Sometimes you sit down with the farm, you understand what's wrong, and it's a recurring relationship that you build with them. So maybe that's why it's so special and so intricate to build in agri-tech, and it's not for everyone.
Yes.
So acknowledging that actually would be the best counter argument.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because at the end of the day, diba, not all, I guess, startups are meant for profit naman talaga.
That's true.
There are we have a lot of NGOs to begin with that don't look for, that are not non-profit in nature.
Yeah.
And they operate regardless of whether scalable man siya o hindi.
That's
but
true.
Even in your model, I mean, I'd like to think there's still a lot of potential pa rin. Even if it's not that apparent, you still have a lot of farmlands.
That's true.
In not just the Philippines, but all over the world.
Yeah.
You have so many governments that are, probably want to invest in agriculture.
Correct.
Other private entities that want to, provide support to these farmlands and to these farmers. And if anything, it's a source of profit and revenue for lots of people. So I think it's still lucrative naman what you're doing. But given that reality, parang what challenges do you foresee in trying to reach that? So I guess it's a volume game, no? You're getting getting as many customers, getting as many clients as possible to avail of your services. What are some challenges you notice with?
I think number one really is even just adoption will be a big thing.
Okay, why would adoption be?
Again, like with the technology that we're doing, at a high level, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to plant these sensors in the corners of the paddy field and look in the three main sources of these risks, like soil moisture, water levels, pest and insect.
Okay. How many, let's say in a hectare of land, how many sensors do you foresee?
Per hectare we see 8 sensors.
8 sensors.
And then one receiver. that kind of receives the data, which will go to the cloud, and then goes to step 2, which is actually the app. With the AI that interprets the data that's collected in the farm to give you the insights on what to do next.
Yes.
So given that hardware software combination, I think even just access to technology could be very difficult, like trying to understand. And how we're solving this or mitigating this at least is that's why we're using kind of a traffic light system to categorize these risks for them, so they don't even have to interpret graphs or tables when the insight is there.
Yes.
So you just look at the red, ito yung pinakauna kong kailangan palang isolve. Within the next 12 hours, ito muna unahin ko. Water level, sobrang baba. I'll put 20 liters, for example. So
it's very intuitive.
Yeah,
it's a very intuitive.
I think that goes back to the advocacy of making it more accessible. Accessibility doesn't mean you need to download, not just downloading it on the app. You can put it on your pocket, but it's actually having insights that they would understand. And again, like with the use of AI now, we can also hopefully translate it to other dialects in the Philippines. Para kahit saan man sila sa Pilipinas, they would auto-translate, understand na what the insight is in their own language. So I guess that's the barrier of adoption. I guess second big problem would be distribution. I guess, as I said, it's tempting to in AgriTech, right? I was talking to this other investor who eventually became my friend after telling her I'm not yet raising. So she started like being warm to me na. She thought na parang I was gonna get out her money or something. Like no, not really. I just want to talk. And then she started talking to me about like there are also other nuances in AgriTech, because sometimes you could stand out as a company if you have this defensible technology that no one can produce other than them. You can't buy it in the market or put it together on your own. So that's another. And then there's another distribution game. Sometimes the big problem with AgriTech is if you're able to cover the value chain, right? From acquiring the seeds to determining the risks, managing the risk, all the way to selling it in the market. So sometimes whatever is most efficient for people, that's what they would go to. And right now, since, as I said, it's a very fragmented industry, especially in the Philippines, parang marami pang mga middlemen that go around it and cuts the profit for farmers more and more and more. So that's another barrier that we're looking at. So hopefully, the vision naman for AgriConnect within the next 10 to 20 years, hopefully, is be an end-to-end partner for farmers, from acquiring the seeds, managing the risk, all the way to putting it to the market, giving them out microloans and whatnot.
Wow,
so it becomes end-to-end. So that's how we would want to solve the distribution, by actually being an all-in-one platform. But again, I said, my principle in startups now, this is my first rodeo, and a principle I always hold on to is it's better that you're best at one thing than good at 5 things.
Yes.
So I want to pin down the risk management first, which is the most vital against all the value chain.
Yes.
And then from then on, start acquiring the seeds, start giving them more market access.
So do you see yourself, because you mentioned you have multiple, you want to make it an end-to-end platform for farmers, and you see yourself starting with the risk management, creating this AI algorithm for farmers to easily produce the data they're collecting from these sensors. But in the next steps afterwards, do you see yourself like mastering those problems also, or mastering those solutions, or do you see yourself getting acquired by companies that can already, or do you see yourself going to joint ventures with companies that have already solved those microfinance
for sure. I think for now, again, 8 months in. So
I'm very presumptuous.
of an exit strategy, if this is what's implying. But I think for me also, as I said during the Globe talk, that I'm all for community. And if that means having to have joint ventures with Filipino startups too, that solve these specific problems, that would be a great way. Because for me, honestly, if you were to ask me now at this point, I just want to focus on risk and then bring in more Filipino talents to also help out in other parts, like
Oh, that's
microfinancing, and then like someone gives me market access, so that's, again, as I said, like I'm not here to monopolize. Like that's never my goal here, because it comes from a very I like to say a very pure intention. And so if it means I get more help, not I get to help not only farmers but also other companies, right? They'll probably help me more because I'm just new and they're bigger than me. But then, like, whatever help I could give out to people, I think that's also good, right? And then eventually, I mean, if being acquired is another angle, hopefully, also looking into like the companies, the intentions of these companies who want to acquire.
Shout out Globe, Kickstart, 917.
I'm literally using their jacket sa office. 917. Manifesting talaga.
For context, guys, kasi I met Soj in a Globe event.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that earlier. He was presenting there, and then I was like, shucks, I need to get this guy for my podcast.
Oh my God.
Kasi I want to cover politics now
Yeah.
But I want to cover entrepreneurship, especially for like young people, because I mean that's the market I wanna talk to, and that's the market I wanna help also. Diba?
That's cool.
Inspire young people to get into entrepreneurship, to take risks, and I think you're an example of doing that. And add to that, you're doing it with a lot of with more pure intentions other than profit, which I think that's also a very admirable thing. Especially in the system we live in now.
Exactly.
Diba?
I mean, maybe it's also, as I said, like my term on like privilege. I feel like I'm privileged enough to feel like this, to feel like I won't profit from this. Maybe there are people who build their startups because this is the only choice that they have.
Yes.
Maybe it's coming from a place of like acknowledging that I also have the privilege of like, maybe I have other tracks in my life that I want to pursue, right? But hopefully we come in industries like this with a more like, in the DNA of the business, it's always having to help people out beyond the profit. And maybe it's easier said than done. I respect people who do it like that, whose intentions are like that. But again, like with this new generation that we are, where we're more proactive, we're more open and
we're socially aware.
Correct. The values and morals is something we keep in mind. I hope we get more people.
You're such an Atenean talaga.
I think it's the Theo and Philo classes talaga. Imagine, guys, every semester we have like one, and I'm on my 8th. So that should be very interesting. Oh, Eiyo, no.
Hey there, thanks for watching the highlights of the Hey Eiyo podcast. If you enjoyed, why don't you like this video and subscribe to my channel? You may also watch the full episode by clicking the clip in the middle.